Welcome to episode 98 of Peace Talk. This is quite iconic day. I think
episode 98.
The timing of this is so amazing that the sun is literally 0 degrees in 0 minutes. So yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. And I'm only just now realizing why too, and I'm gonna mention soon, but thank you for joining us. How are you doing? I don't want to say your name wrong. So could you educate me on how to
What do you think it is?
I'm always
curious.
Caitlainne or Caitlainne.
Caitlainne. That's it.
Caitlainne.
Caitlainne.
Oh, perfect. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
It's just like super special.
Nice. That's what's up. Yeah, it is super special. It's a great way to. Your name just looks more official that way. I'll say that.
Yeah, right. Because it has like too many N's and vowels and.
Yeah, I personally have 2 N's in my last name, so that's kind of.
Yeah, how do you say your last name?
So it's Nebe. The
Nebe.
Yeah, it's like and then with the accent it's Nebe, but I've been called Nebby, Neeby, Nebs. Shout out to I've heard every combination. It's crazy. Shout out to Escobra in the building. Shout out to Jessica, Little B, Summer Solstice. Loving your energy. You're totally a bundle of sunshine right now.
I mean, it's spring. It's been such a long winter. I'm like, please give me spring. I'm done with winter right now.
Oh my God, it's spring. Yes, it's finally spring. Honestly, like Mercury retrograde is still on in full effect. So I just came back from Firestone. Like I had to get a lift. As soon as I get there, like as soon as I leave, it starts raining. And then the Lyft driver drops me off. He's not able to like cancel the ride. And like it keeps hiring new riders on my end to pick me up from the old place. So and I'm not able to cancel the ride. Yeah. So I think it just now started working, but it's wild. It's super wild. But
yeah, it's been weird. Like the energy, like I don't know. Usually I'm okay during Mercury in retrograde because I'm like, okay, I'm aware, but this time it's different. It's like technical difficulties, like no joke.
Yeah.
And it's silent at the same time. Like, I don't know about you. Like, it's like eerily quiet. Like, I'm literally like, what's going on? Like something's about to pop. That's what it feels like.
Yes.
And it's weird.
It's a perfect description. Perfect description. It's weird. It's great. There is this kind of like white noise, like, talking more by saying less kind of energy.
Yes. Like literally my guides are like, shut up. Don't say anything. Be quiet. And I'm like, oh, okay.
And then the thing with like Pisces energy that is annoying, but also kind of awesome is like my spirit guides. I don't even want to say my spirit guides, like the universe or whatnot. I'm sure this is some kind of like disorder to see the world this way, but like you'll see like words written and it's almost like you're being talked to through it. Like I'll enter the lift car and I will have finished like ranting and then I enter the lift car and the name of the song is like Bad Liar. And I'm like, oh, is that like it's just like passive aggressive. And
yes. That's when you know you're real. That's when you're like, this is so real. I live in a movie. Like, there's no way. Like, this is my movie. Like, that's it.
Yeah. It's beginning.
But that's fun.
Oh, no, right? Definitely. Yeah, totally agree. So for those who are interested, what is your sun, moon, and rising?
Okay, so my sun is Aquarius, my moon is Cancer, and my rising is Gemini.
Cancer moon. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, yeah. With an Aquarius sun. So that's fun. And so then, like, my Gemini, like, kind of, like, balances it out, I feel like.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, definitely. So that would make you a representative of holy knowledge. That's what's up.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. I'll take it.
No, definitely. In fact, there's different keywords, too. But I do fully recognize Aquarius and Pisces as ascended masters. So I'm glad we have ascended master. All my Aquarius talks are lit. Like all my Aquarius talks are lit. So that's why I was like, oh, yes, like she's not a Virgo, she's Aquarius. This is gonna be super dope. No offense to Virgos. Like the Virgo talks are few and far between, but they're dope too. Interestingly enough, the reason why this kind of shocked me is the composite sun between Aquarius and Gemini is Aries, and we did this talk right when Aries entered it. So this is the moment. Yeah. It's almost like we're ushering in this energy.
Yeah, and I think my North Node is in Aries, so I feel like during Aries, is it North Node? I think so. Yeah, my North Node's in Aries, so I feel like every time Aries comes in, like I get a lesson. I'm like, oh wow, like Aries is about to show me myself.
Yeah.
Like, this new version of myself, or like it's like always a coming out party. It feels like spring, like that Aries feel. Because we've been like hermiting, or at least I do. Maybe because I'm born in the winter, like I am a shadow queen. So I'll like huddle in the winter, process, hermit, and then it's like finally the sun's out, and then like Aries just goes.
Is your moon degree past like 20?
Oh, that's a great question. I should look it up.
It's all good.
Actually, yeah, because like this is what I'm learning about. Actually, I learned this from you. This is why I watch you, because I'm like, give me the like. I understand the language, but then it's like putting the degrees on what, and I'm like, oh, okay, like you're giving me the verbiage. I like get the feelings where I'm like, oh, I understand that.
Nice.
Oh, like you know what I mean? So yeah, I've been watching you for like, I mean, definitely past like a year, just like learning. You've been a part of my awakening experience. Let's be real. I'm like, what's going on? Put on some Peace Dealer.
Thank you. My North Node is Aquarius, so I'm always trying to look up aquas, like as well as I can. But this is where things get even crazier, because we were supposed to do this talk last week, and I rescheduled it for this week. But you're Cancer moon, I'm Capricorn moon, so that means our composite sun and moon is like Aries sun, Libra moon, and it's like.
So what does that mean? Like, what does that mean in astrology words?
I think we're literally opening the door to this new year throughout this through this transmission. Like that's amazing.
That sounds abundant.
Yes.
Ooh, that sounds very abundant.
If we're not like a composite new moon in Aries, we're a composite like full moon in Libra, which is amazing.
Which is right now. Hey!
Right now, yeah. So
I know when you rescheduled, I was like, perfect. It's on the full moon. I was like, because I was like feeling it. I was like, I don't know if we're gonna do, because I like get feelings where I'm like, I don't know if we're gonna do the talk this week, because I wasn't feeling like it was gonna happen yet. And I was like, I feel like usually I look at myself and I'm like, either I'm not ready, or like I gotta look at myself right now, like it's not the time to be out. And so it was perfect, because I had like that was a crazy week. I feel like it's been weird buildups to this moon, or to this energy right now. It's like, it's a lot of shedding, a lot of just like fearless feeling and thinking, and being like, just go with what you know and believe in yourself and trust it like super deeply, you know?
True that.
So I was grateful. I was like, thank you. You gave me an extra week.
Your hair is marvelous, by the way. The purple.
Ooh, thank you. I just redid it.
That's
like, get some color in there, some crown chakra. I called in that crown. I was like, put it in there. Tell me the secrets.
It fits amazingly. I'll say that.
Thank you.
So what do you feel like having a Cancer moon? How do you feel about having a Cancer moon, and how does it work with your Aquarius?
That's a very good question. How do I feel about a Cancer moon? Right now, so I'm just coming out of my Saturn return. I'm 32.
Oh,
so
sweet.
Yeah, so my Saturn return, because it was in Sagittarius, I feel like all I did was work on my moon. It was like working on understanding like water. And I also both my parents are Pisces. So I've like been in water my life. Like my life is water. I have a lot of, it's like I'm a secret water sign, but I'm I don't consider myself like super watery.
Okay.
Because of my Aquarius. I feel like my Aquarius has always kind of like beamed me up to the crown stuff, more of the expression. I don't want to really like feel it all and like, you know, have to like deal with the feelings. I'd rather like talk about it or express it in another way. So my Saturn return basically made me look at my moon and be like, you have to love this. You have to love how deep the moon is and how like Cancer water is dark. Like,
oh yeah,
it's dark. So it wasn't just like, ooh, I'm swimming in the ocean. I'm like, fuck, the ocean is deep.
Yeah.
Which was great because I think that's really important. Like, the more like we're doing this work, like spiritually and, you know, connecting to the universe, I'm like, I better know water because there's a lot of fire right now. I feel like water, you know, helps simmer the fire down. I see that very clearly now, just like with either like conflict or kind of like in my own life. It's like, where do I actually spark my fires? And then it's like wildfire. And where am I actually like using my Cancer knowledge to kind of just like tame, you know, the air and the fire and all of the chaos and just kind of like chill on the beach. Like, you don't got to go deep, but you also should get in the water. Like that was my big lesson.
And let's be real. You know, Cancer suns and especially Cancer moons are getting jumped by Saturn and Pluto.
Oh, holy crap. Like, that is so real. That was so real.
What's and it's just
like? It's, you know what it is? It's open heart surgery.
Wow.
That's what it feels like because your heart is so vulnerable and you have to work with it. Like, if you feel brokenhearted or if you feel angry as hell, you have to kind of like feel it. And you have to figure out, okay, is this, how do I like get out of this feeling or work with this feeling, right? So it's, yeah, Saturn, man. And because I'm Aquarius, like, you know, Saturn and I are friends. Like, I feel like Saturn's always like, okay, get yourself in line. And talking to my moon all the time, being like, stop being a baby. Like, feel it, be in the experience. And I'm like, no.
I already know, though. You're exactly. Like, I already know. Do I have
I'm like,
to?
But I'm like, I already know. Like, do I have to feel it and I have to like be in it too? And they're like, yes. But it's good because I feel like, man, it's so intuitive when you live in that world. So I just jumped in. I was like, intuitively, let's just go there. You know, I want to be in my greatest potential and my greatest self, but also like my greatest intuitive self, you know, like I don't mind if I have feelings and, you know, I'm starting to like understand how to read energy around me or like, you know, I want to be able to be a part of the consciousness shift and not be distracted by it and actually distract other people too. Like, I want to be a part of the, like, let's help people through it rather than we're all like, what's going on? You know?
Very true. That was very well said. Open heart surgery. I'm presuming you have, by the way, shout out to Astro Phoenix, Lisa. We got Rachel in the building. Thank you guys for joining. Shout out to Brown Brujita. You have Saturn in Sagittarius then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so is Uranus on there too?
Yes.
So that's a very amazing aspect. I want to do a documentary on one day because I didn't realize, I don't think there's literature out to really explain how revolutionary that aspect is.
Really?
Oh, it's so rare. And you're only now barely, like, there's going to be some literature out explaining what it might be, but only you guys know how supernatural and iconic that is. And you're just coming into the Saturn return. So it's not until this next 30 years that we'll see you guys, we will see you all effectively, I believe, like revolutionize what is even real? Like, what are we seeing? How do we philosophy, all that. What is it like to have Uranus on Saturn? Like that is such a special soul group. It's legendary.
And when you say that, I'm like, yeah, let me talk about like reality shifts. Like during that Saturn return, and like I got attuned to Reiki. So I kind of started the whole journey being like, I'm stressed out all the time. I need to like find a way to like help with my own like anxiety. And, you know, I was just having like panic all the time. And I was like, dang, what is this? And so I had a friend be like, try Reiki. And I was like, okay. And then I got like, it was like an initiation where I was like, what is this? Oh my God, I must do it.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like my soul knew what it was doing before I was even aware of what was happening.
Oh, I love it.
As my realities were shifting and I was feeling very much like, I mean, the amazing thing about like the Aquarius feel is like you just, and Gemini, you like, we see the magic in here. Like I watch people's magic.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. I'm like, I saw that.
It's so odd. And then you're like, oh, I just saw this. And then every time I do it, my cap's like, don't tell people what you see. You big mouth. Give it to yourself.
I know. And then like, yeah, my Cancer moon just goes like, oh shit, I saw it. Like, cause I could feel it. And I'm like, but that's good. Like, I thought it was a bad thing. I think, especially when you're a very sensitive being growing up as a kid, like, you're probably so open that you see everything and you're overwhelmed by the world that like we shut it all down. So I think we're all opening that like very intuitive door slowly on our own terms, and like, but also our souls and the universe is going to be like, yeah, but you also don't get it on your own terms. Like it's already done. We've opened the door for you. Like we're putting you on the journey. And it was like, let go of control, which is the hardest part. You know, it's the hardest part of like the whole thing. Be like, where am I going?
No,
but it's an adventure.
I had a reading earlier today with an Aquarius. She's from New York. She was born 82. She actually has Saturn in Scorpio, but she has Jupiter, Uranus, conjunct in Sag, and then Neptune in Sag. So it's kind of like. Whoa. So it's like your soul group kind of adds on to it. But one thing about she has a New York accent. Shout out to Ether Gnosis in the building because she reminded me so much.
Yes.
It's amazing. But yeah, she was talking about how like she's also Aquarius, right? So she can be in a room and just see what's going on, and like no one else will really see what's happening. Like you guys don't see this and whatnot. So I can imagine it's totally that way with you too. And do you have any word of advice for people who have to deal? I think it's something Aquarius is go through. Sag is like, how do you live this ascended life where you have to be aware of things that other people will call you crazy for even admitting?
Oh, that is such a good question. Honestly, I've learned to breathe and be present and just accept it, because my experience is going to be completely different than yours. I could tell you, I saw this, oh my God, this is going to happen. And you could be like, no, like, I don't feel it. I don't see it. I don't hear it. It's not true. So because it's not true for your experience, I had to like remind myself, oh yeah, like this is my experience. This is my life. This is also my creation. Like I am creating my own reality. So the things that I am either observing or like taking part in, because it's all choice. Like and that's like this main theme that I keep kind of like repeating to myself. Like I have choice. I don't have to like, do anything that I don't want. So I have choice. So if someone's like, you're crazy, I'm like, okay, thank you. That means I scare you because I might be a little right. And if I'm a little right and you felt it a little bit, you gonna deflect me and be like, no, you crazy. And I'm like, ooh, you reacted. Does that mean there was some truth in that?
Yeah.
Like that's where I start going. Oh. And like that's when my guides are like, shh. like because my Mars is in Aries. That's what it is too. Like my Mars in Aries. Oh, Mars in Aries.
You get triggered lately. Like, oh, who wants it? Oh my gosh.
Oh yes. And it's dangerous because that fire be like real. Like,
yeah.
whoo.
And before you can hold it back, like you already kind of let it out. So
yeah.
But
yeah, you think you held back and then you're like, oh wait, I did that still? Oh,
right,
I didn't even give it to you.
And it's cool having it with as an air sign because it's like you already moved on. It's like, oh, well, let's just forget it. Like, oh,
See ya.
But I love what you said because that's a hardcore realization that I've had to make myself. It's like, you know, maybe I'm not really the weird one and I do some weird things, but it made me realize, wait, maybe, or not, maybe it's like, wow, like it goes both ways. Like people might be, I noticed people are more reflecting their insecurities or their emotions and fear, and then trying to like frame it that it's something wrong with you when, you know, actually it could be the other way around, or actually it's not as serious as people make it out to be. And it's been such a very humbling but empowering process of taking my power back, or taking
Absolutely. Because that's the other thing. It's like, in that point too, I feel like when you are in your power, people want to say something to like kind of just like get you a little bit off your game or your alignment or yourself, or they're trying to find that like one insecurity that makes you be like, ow, and like I call it leaking. Like you'll leak your energy. And sometimes people just are trying to find where that hole is, like, and I see it in a chakra system. Like if it's in your solar plexus, right? If you're like, oh, I'm still working on building that fire, that power. So of course somebody's going to try to like hit that tiny little like wound that you're still working on. And you're like, thank you for showing me how much work I've been doing, but also thank you for showing me how powerful I am. Because I saw what you did. Now go back to the universe where you came from. I don't want to deal with you. Go away. That's
been my experience of it too. It's like, thank God I have the Capricorn moon, because the Mars and Aries is ready to get triggered. The Gemini's are talking. Cap's like, yo, no, they're just trying to trigger you. Like they're just trying to like, that energy is just trying to like get under your skin. You don't even have to do all that. And then the Aries is like, I'll still do it anyway. But the Cap's like, nah, it's all good. But
I know, you're lucky you got that Cap moon. Like, honestly, even though like my Venus is in Capricorn, so I feel like I'm learning, and it's in the 8th house. I just figured that out. And I was like, I know. I got scared. I was scared of myself. I was like, oh my God, that's terrible. The 8th house. And I was like, no. But I now am realizing, I was like, no, that Capricorn energy though, like it puts you, like, especially with now that it's in Saturn, I felt it instantly. I actually saw someone break their ankle right in front of me. It was like this kind of strange, let's talk about like weird spiritual situations. Like, you know, when you're just in the place right when you should be, to view something, but to see it as like a symbol. I'm like, I was walking my dog with my partner, and he felt it before it happened because it was raining. It was super slippery. And like, this was the message, right? The guy was on his phone. He was a little drunk, a little tipsy, and he wasn't connected to his feet. So you saw it happen before it happened, right? So he's like, he's not paying attention to what's right in front of him. And we watched him like step into it to a point where I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And he just slipped, and it was just like, it happened. But in that very moment, actually, before I left for my walk, I pulled the devil card. And I was pulling it over and over and over and over. And I was like, obviously, fine, Capricorn. Like, I'm working with you, like, blah, blah, blah. But when I pulled it, it was reversed. And then I went out for this walk, and seeing this guy, like, actually show the, like, almost the, like, break in that Capricorn energy, right? Like, if you're not on your game, if Saturn is like, yo, I've given you so many chances and like so many signs to like pay attention. Like, it was just a big reminder of like, pay attention. Just pay attention, because it takes one moment. When I tell you, it like irked me. It irked me. His foot was like the other way, like to the point where I freaked out. I was like, don't take on his pain. My Cancer moon was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, I can feel everything. His body was freaking out. He didn't realize what happened yet. So I'm like feeling this crazy energy, and I'm like, oh God, don't freak out, don't freak out. And it was gnarly. Like it took me a day. Like I kept getting like weirded out, but it was like so clear where it was like, pay attention.
That's
like
amazing.
Pay attention. And it's like, thank you for reminding me I have feet. Like get all the way down to your feet, be present, like do your thing, but pay attention while you're going about, you know, your shit, because Capricorn is ready. Like you be off, like you be testing, and it's like, no. I can just feel it, that Saturn and Capricorn, like all that energy, where I was like, oh, okay.
No, definitely. And even as a moon in Cancer, I would think how is it okay, especially with this Cap energy, this now opens you up to sense the dark parts of people, because you said Cancer is dark, and Cancer definitely helps with like nurturing and healing. I feel like Cancer is a healing, restorative energy, but I feel like Cancer and Leo, but especially Cancer, can sense into the unseen dark intent of people, where not everyone's a goody two shoes. So it's almost as if you can feel people's evil.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, the more I'm realizing what healer actually means, and being a healer and being a reader, it means like you understand how to communicate with the dark and the light. Like you can't shut out the dark and just be love and light, right? Because then you become, like in my mind, if you shut out understanding like there is dark parts to all of us, and like you have to work with it. So if you shut it out and you're like, love and light, I'm not going to look at it, you become dark, because you're actually denying a piece of yourself, and then the ego just starts to like run rampant, and then you're not really like, you know, completely connecting to that balance.
Yeah.
So I feel like my Cancer moon, like she does show me just some feelings. Like it's feelings. It's just like, ooh, I don't want to go over there. Like I just don't want to go over there. I have a feeling. And honestly, listen to your feelings. That has been my greatest gift as of lately. It's like, listen to them all. Don't always freak out, because my Cancer moon can scare me. That's the only thing.
Same here.
And my mom had a Scorpio moon, so like she would scare the shit out of me. Like our moons, like I would be like scared by different waters, like that Scorpio water.
Scorpio moon will just like the straight face tell you the deepest stuff, like it's nothing. Like, by the way, well, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah. So I feel like I had quite the teacher of like that feminine energy of like.
Oh, as a Pisces too.
Listen, and actually her birthday's today. She's like right on that like Pisces, could be a volcano, but also could be like just water sign.
Pisces, okay.
Yeah, Pisces. She's all water. I call my mom the ocean all the time. I'm like, please, like, I was like, Mom, you are the ocean, which is important to know about water just in general. Because I think that's a big theme. Right now, it's like biblically, sometimes I look at it. I'm like, yeah, I know we're all supposed to go by fire or whatever. The world ends by fire this time. I was like, so what's going to rise up? Wow. The water. Duh. Yeah, like, why do you think we're all learning how to, like, you know, get in touch with your water and know how to use it, you know? Like,
that's been a huge lesson for me, because I just want to do the whole, here's my compartmentalize my feelings. Like, yeah, important to acknowledge your emotions, but I'm not going to do it anyway. And just be on this mountaintop and just watch everyone else drown. But it's not like not that easy, unfortunately.
But like sometimes we need that person though who's going, hey, you're all drowning.
Yeah,
just let you know, like you're like the lifeguard.
You're like, making no sense. You're totally irrational.
Because there is a time for it. Like there is a time for it all, and that's, you know, trying to be open to it all is, you know, the big like alchemy. Like when people are like alchemizing and this energy and this, it's like, yeah, but like it's all happening at the same time. Like everything's happening at the same time. P.S. There is no time. Like, so just live your life and surrender to it at the same time. Bye. Like, just have fun. And you're like, what? How did becoming human just become really weird? Like, I thought, whoa.
And it was already weird to begin with, but at some point it just like someone just turned the lever like skirt. Let's
right?
crank this up weirder. So how did you get inspired to walk your path? And what is it that, how long have you been expressing your talents?
I'm an artist at heart, like an artist, warrior soul, painter, actor, musician. So I feel like, you know, artists are always the ones who can feel the change before the change comes, because it's like we're expressing it and we're feeling it and we're kind of like helping the collective or people who aren't as like artistically and it's not even like the creative flow. It's just the people who are willing to go there, the people who are willing to feel it, the people who are willing to kind of like climb into the unknown and see what's there. And so I was actually taking an acting class here out in LA. I moved from New York because I was living in New York for a while and I thought I wanted to do the Broadway scene. And I was like, I want to be on Broadway. Like, that's it. Let me sing and dance all day. Yeah. And then I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm a little bored. So I'm going to go to LA and see what's there. I think I'm going to do film and TV and like being more in the creative, like production, like create my own stuff. So I came out here and I like started working with an acting teacher who was no joke. Like, she was like, you do spiritual work if you're an actor, and you need to understand that because you are literally calling on spirits. You are a medium taking them and like facilitating and communicating, and then you have to let them go.
Okay.
And I think she helped me understand, well, also like, you know, as an artist, like how to release kind of like, you know, especially as an actor, if you like play like a really dark role, like you watch people kind of stumble into this like confusion, kind of talk about like the realities kind of shifting. And I realized it. I was like, oh, she's right. Like
the dude who played Joker, right?
Yes. Yeah. Like you really are taking on a spirit. Like it really is mediumship. Like if you want to be the best actor or the best musician, like you want to have that experience where you're almost not even there, just channeling it, right?
Yep. So true.
So she helped me realize the amount of protection and boundaries and understanding that world it took. But I didn't know that I had like gifts. So as I'm in this acting class, I remember I went to her after class and I was like, hey, I just want to ask you something. I'm not crazy. It was one of those like moments where it's like, I know I'm not crazy, but I might come off crazy right now. Yeah. And I was straight up, like, I was like, well, here we go. And I was like, I hear like African chants. Like there are women chanting in my head right now. I was like, how do I turn that down? And she looked at me and she's like, oh, I don't know. I was like, and I was like, you knew this the whole time, didn't you? Like secret agent, like talk about secret agents.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm very grateful for her, but it was like a realization of like, oh shoot, like I think I'm a medium. Like I think I am as I'm like kind of in it.
Yeah.
So it was strange because, you know, like LA is full of, it's very interesting out here for like spiritual community and what is spiritual to other people and kind of like circles and meditation centers. And I've tried to find my way around while I was waking up, but like I wasn't really feeling it all the time. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like I have to like do this on my own. I kind of have to hermit and figure it out because y'all aren't helping me all the time. Like you're kind of making things a little bit more difficult. So I like kind of went into hiding for a little bit and I was like, let me figure this out real quick. Cause apparently I got a whole crew of ancient like African women just chanting these words. And I'm like, I want to know what they're saying, to be honest. Like, so I just kind of did that. And then like I started picking up the tools. I was like, okay, so if I'm a medium, how do I do this? How do I communicate? And so I just like picked up tarot cards and like started working with like different teachers and seeing how I also read, because I think it's beautiful. Everyone's so different. So I just kind of like started, and I was watching you at the same time. So I was like, what's this astrology talk? Like, let me learn about astrology and start understanding the language. Because it's all language. It's just like, and maybe that was my Cancer moon feeling it. Like I didn't always understand the words, or like I knew when you would like channel in a certain planet. Like I knew what energy that was. I knew who, like kind of who that was.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a word. Like I didn't have a label or whatever to it yet.
That's what I appreciate too. Like the context. Like I'm not really usually aware of when all that happens, what I'm really even channeling. So like having people who do, it just adds to the experience. It's so
because people really, I'm learning this myself. People learn by watching you learn, and like people learn by just watching you. So I'm realizing like the more I can kind of lead by example and just kind of be honest about, you know, where I'm at, what tools that I picked up to kind of help me through, like, you know, understanding how to communicate with different energies. Because there's no guidebook. There's no, like, you know, you are your own guru. Like, you got to kind of figure it out for yourself. So as much as I was trying to like have everyone else tell me what's going on, it's like, you know, Caitlainne, you're the only one who can, you're your own best teacher, but your own best student too. So beautiful. Yeah, it humbled the fuck out of me. I won't lie. Like, it was great. It was great. So now it's just about adding that to the art. Now it's like, great. I got spiritual boundaries. I know what I'm doing. So now I feel like, you know, when I paint or when I read for someone, or like, I use cannabis a lot in like ceremonially. And like, I really identify with that consciousness, like that, like she just speaks to me. Like I just feel like, and I feel the future of cannabis and how people are going to want to like understand her as a medicine, you know, plant medicine, not just like, you know, like it's going to be, I mean, hopefully it's going to be all over the nation helping people get rid of their traumas, you know?
No, well, when used medicinally, it's great. Recreationally, it's cool too, but in moderation, you know what I mean? Just like, I'm convinced that Moon and Cancers make the best mediums. So
really,
yeah, I feel like I feel like Cancer is the medium energy, and any other ones too, like Pisces as well. But yeah, definitely specifically Moon and Cancer, I feel is like the high priestess medium energy center, because in order to channel spirits, you have to have like a holy soul or a holy energy, so it doesn't get distorted by like different vibes.
Yes, because like we talked about before, where you're like, how do you know, or like, how do you feel about like the darkness? And that's, I mean, honestly, my Saturn return was about meeting the darkness, right? Like you have to meet the darkness within yourself, within your generational family line. Like you have to, when you do this work, you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for the blood. You're doing it for your like, you know, future, but also like organizing the past and being like, yo, y'all like mess this up for me. Let me like puzzle piece it out and then move forward. How do we move forward and let go of some of this heavy stuff, you know? It's like, I feel like I'm always juggling. It's like, you know, you take out this, you put this in here. You take this out, you put this in here instead, you know?
Yeah, very true. Well, I mean, that's really what's good. I'm personally looking forward to this new cycle with Jupiter and Sagittarius. I think it's totally going to bring to light so much that we've been working on internally. And they call this the super glow worm moon. We're all going to glow up. And I'm so excited for that. I want to ask one more question before we get into the questions game, but what do you feel? I might as well just make this a question, but yeah, where do you think the where do you see, especially having your Pluto in Scorpio, where do you see relationships going? Because I'm starting to see that kind of not resurface, because everything happens at once. So like people, but I get the feeling that for the first time in a long time, people are really going to have the courage to confront old relationship issues and actually break through. And people are breaking through where other people are breaking down. But I feel like you're a perfect person to ask, since you have this higher awareness and perspective, and you can.
Do you want to, like, do you feel about like romantically, or just like, or like romantic relationships, or just relationships in general, how we view like
That's a really good question. I meant romantically, but that's based on relationships in general. So
okay. I feel like it always starts with like the foundation, right? So the foundation of like where relationships even come from.
Yeah.
And I think intuitively we're all doing deep inner child work, like without even understanding or like completely being aware of it. We're questioning like maybe some of our own interactions or our own belief systems, or like, oh, do we really believe, you know, that that type of person wouldn't be for a person for me, when really you're like, when did I believe that? Like, is that true? So I think people are starting to take away these it's almost like these masks that we were taught, but also the mask that we put on each other thinking, I know who you are, and either you are for me or you're not. And it's like, especially with the Pluto and Scorpio, I think it's a heart opening like next few years. Like that's how I feel. I feel like with the open heart surgery kind of feel that I like felt through my Saturn return, I was like, oh, like this is where we're going. We're going to be a heart-centered like human, right? Because I don't think we don't realize we're not always connected to our hearts and using them because we're so like
cerebral
technology and also we're also so primal. So people either go super techie or super like sexual. And there's no in between. Yeah. And you're like, okay, we're going to, like, I see conscious sex being a real thing. I see people consciously being like, I'm actually going to, fill up my energy center, like seeing it as a creation zone for your own, like, self, for pleasure, but also for, like, like, not to be like, but spiritual, but like kind of like in that way of like seeing it as sacred, like whatever you see as sacred, which then brings money into it. So, because for me, it's so connected. It's like, if you're leaking from your sacral, like, and your hips, like that's your money center. So I think when it comes to our relationships, I mean, especially as a woman, I feel like I'm being tested in all sorts of ways of like also traditionally like patriarchy. I need a man to make a lot of money, or like, I need someone else in order for my money center to be right, or my womb to be fertile, right? Mm-hmm. But I think men and women are going to actually like, because we are the same, like we're the same, and we're going to start to really see it and feel into it. And I think that's going to take off labels, take off like that conflict of like, you're that person, this is what you believe. Like I almost invite I invite skeptics into my life. I invite the people that I'm not going to agree with into my life, because I know I can sit and listen to you, and I know we can talk. I'm willing to listen to you even if your opinion or like what you believe is completely opposite of mine. True but that. I want to sit down with those people, and I just feel like we're going to balance out. And it's going to, I see people, being in, open relationships way more. I see like, like, because we're really questioning, gender. We're questioning, we're not questioning, we're just like, we're releasing, we're freeing that, what is gender, what is, just that, like that for me too, of like when people are like, what is sexuality, like so the masculine and the feminine, and I'm like, I didn't realize I've been wearing my masculine most of my life. I'm just getting to know my feminine. Like I thought I knew her, but like, whoa, we're all learning where we are.
I feel like it's a duality. Like I do believe we're the same. I feel like we're different, but like you said, we are the same, and it's like duality in that sense.
Yeah, and I think the more we get to that place as a collective, because it takes one person, it takes yourself to be like, I am going to work on this, or like I'm going to question my own belief system, or I'm going to work on myself, and then all of a sudden your friends start talking about like, hey, I'm doing the same thing, or like, it's in the air, right? So I think we're all feeling what is our relationships? What's healthy for me? Are you healthy for me? Am I healthy for me? Like, I actually want to live this life. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste resources. I don't want the earth to like take us out, because the earth isn't going to die. The earth is going to take us out. Like, I want my future children and grandchildren to have a place to live that's safe, that's even here, and that's balanced, like for real. Like, I don't have to worry about the future.
Yeah, I feel a part of me feels like that too. Like, save the world, and then don't bring. But then it's like not having a savior complex too. Like the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but let's play the. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. Let's play the 3 questions game.
Okay, what is the 3 questions game? We just ask 3 questions.
Yeah, we'll take turns asking questions. So you can ask me a question first. It could be about anything. I'll answer it, and then I'll ask you a question, and then we'll go 2 more rounds.
Okay, I'll go first.
Word.
What has been the repeating question, like, in your mind? Like, what is like the thing that you're like I keep having the same question? Like, what are you questioning right now? Like, either like it doesn't have to be personal or anything, but like, like if you see something, you're like, like that.
All oh, like the what?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say they all kind of lead to the same point, and I think what I'm trying to ask, and you know what, that's such a good question, because like that's been so frustrating. Like, I've been wanting to like word the right intention or ask the right question, but I realized I know what I feel like, but I don't know how to conceptualize it, and that's kind of what's blocking me or holding me back. But I don't want to say it's holding me back, but it really boils down to, how do I flip the switch? How do I really like step into this limitless state of consciousness, and that'll allow me to understand why the hell I'm being trolled by these synchronicities, and it's like my mind is constantly focusing on like, what does this all mean, really?
Yeah.
And that's a really good question, because I feel like what you're asking is super relevant, and it's definitely going to activate. And it's ironic, because I feel like that question's finally going to be answered now.
For sure.
And has been answered. I know I'm super unaware and clueless, so I get the sense that every time I asked it, the universe answered, but then I distracted myself, like, oh, cookie, and it's just like, oh,
interesting. Yeah, and then you're like, wait, you gave me the answer. Wait, give it to me again. Well, it's like the lift, when you said the lift, the radio.
Yeah.
The radio gives me so many answers. I feel like Spirit is the radio. Like, she just gives me the songs, and I'm like,
I mean, if you think about it, the radio is a bunch of tunes and frequencies. So
I mean, hello.
that's a great point. That's a super great point. I hope that answers your question though, because it's almost as if like that question is hiding now. Like, don't expose me. But I think that's
a Capricorn moon.
Right?
Secrets. Don't tell your secrets.
In the 8th house, right? It is what it is. But my question for you is, Aries woman, Gemini woman, Leo woman, Libra woman, Sagittarius woman, Aquarius woman, y'all are revolutionary, because you're women with masculine spirits. And so it's like everything y'all do is break these old patriarchal norms. And how do you feel now in stepping into adulthood? Because you're totally a part of history. Like, you're making history right now. Everything that you're doing, which would have been so much harder to do 50 years ago. What is it like representing that? I'm sure there are other women who may represent a more feminine energy that can sometimes feel either threatened or feel like you're not playing your role, and also other men who may feel that. Even though we're now more accepting times, what's your experience with that? What do you feel about that?
With that? You know, I think because we're all learning how to feel safe in our feminine. Whether you are a man or a woman, there is this fear-based energy that a woman who is in their power but also who is in their feminine means like you're in danger in some way. And I was watching this weird thing happen with me. The more like I would be like, okay, like, thank you, masculine. Like, I want to bring more of my feminine in. And I would just get this like fear that's I'm in danger. And I was like, what? Why? Like, stop. This isn't fun. No wonder I've been in my masculine. And it's made me question how, you know, like, the way, like you said, the way history is, right? So if we look at like our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, great-great-grandmothers, women were controlled by fear, right? So that's like kind of like how it's always been, or like fear is a tactic. There's all sorts of like different tactics, but the one that like kept triggering within me, especially right now, because I feel like when people feel, especially like those forces that they have nothing left but to scare you, like trying to scare you and scare you and scare you. Like, how else can I scare you to not do it? And it sucks. Of course, you're like, I don't like to be scared, but I think the power in the feminine, especially, you know, if women who have been any sort of like trauma or abuse and assault, I don't think people realize, you know, unless it's happened to you, how terrifying that really is. And when you actually do get this like big taste of like, whoa, I am completely powerless in this situation, you never get this opportunity to then build it back up. And then you're like, okay, so now I know both sides, right? So I don't have to be scared of the side that I've already experienced. Now I can use it as a tool. And I can use it as a gift because now I know how it works, or now I can feel it before it comes, or I'm not going to choose those kind of partners in my life. And having women really have like control and choice over their lives, you know, like you're not in arranged, well, you know, depending on where you are. See, this is the other thing. It's like, because there's a piece of me that's been deeply connecting to the Middle East, deeply. And my father is Sicilian. I actually live like right near a mosque too. So like, anytime there's any sort of like attacks, like terrorist attacks, on Muslim people. Anytime there's any sort of like, it's like you can feel the grief in the Middle East. You can feel like these men are being murdered, these women are being raped, these children are being, you know, kidnapped or like, you know, killed. Like, it's so deep and hard to explain when, as a woman out here, it's so different, you know, like, so it's this kind of battle of understanding. As much as we are growing, we have to also remember the rest of the world. Like, remember the rest of the world and like offer love and support to those women who don't have it yet, who are trapped in situations, who are completely powerless, instead of just being like, I got this and like moving forward. It's like, no, you have to like bring all those women with you, like, and men and women, right? Like, because the more, my God, there is nothing like sexier than a man who like sticks up for a woman and is like, hey, like, no, this is not how this works. You know, having men on your side as a woman, stepping into their power and stepping into their force and their fierceness, it just feels so balanced, because I just see men almost facilitating the whole thing, right? Like, I see it like, yeah, like they really are. Like, it's this as much as it's like this feminine is coming in, it's also like I see the new man and the like, not like the old man, but kind of like the old man versus the new man. It's all being like, oh God. And then they're like, make way for the feminine coming here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so true. I believe that.
So does that answer your question?
It totally does. In fact, another question I have with the recent experience, it happened twice. One was when I was in college. The second was recently, and it all happened so quickly. And it made me think, should I have done something? Or was I just meant to observe it? So I came from this Chris Angel. Shout out to Marcy. Shout out to Marcy. She invited me out to see Chris Angel when she came to Vegas, like last week. And right after the show, like we're getting drinks at this kiosk. And this one dude, we hear it over our shoulder, if you talk to that dude one more, don't ever talk to that dude again. And it's this dude, and we're all crowded, and it's this one dude holding this lady like very hardly by the arm and pushes her out, and she walks away all dejected. And then he just goes around and walks. So it all happened in like one moment. But later, like, should I have like stopped that and be like, hey, you don't talk to someone like that? Or was it really not my business? Because I mean, it's not like he hit me, but
it's like, it's honestly, I feel like you are speaking to a lot of people right now. Like, how do I help? Or when am I not helping? Right? Like, because it's like, it's so difficult, especially when it's in relationships. Like, and it's like when people bring that stuff into the public and you're like, whoa, like you're actually kind of aggressive towards her.
And no one even saw that.
Me.
Except for like me, her, just the three of us were probably the only ones who saw that. Maybe two other people. Like no one else really saw that because they were so focused. And he didn't shout it. It was like he whispered it in her ear and it was right next to us.
Oh, but you got to like hear it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, sometimes it's interesting that we're talking about this sort of stuff because sometimes I do think that like you're becoming aware of something, another energy or another, not to be like another type of man, right? But it's I see it now, and it might be like my Cancer being like, okay, how can we help those very angry men? Like, it's like you have to help the woman understand boundaries and, you know, in any relationship, male, woman, because this can vice versa, right? But like when there is an aggressor and then there is like an abusee, it's so crazy. It's so intertwined. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to get involved. It's also scary because you don't want to like step in front of this obviously very aggressive person. You're like, am I going to put myself in danger? And I do think this is a good conversation because, you know, what do you do? Like, it was almost like you heard something you weren't supposed to hear, right? Yeah. Like, but there was a reason why you needed to hear it.
Moment. Agreed. A very
It's like sometimes I do see it as spirit just showing you a glimpse of something. Like she's showing you, you know, something. And to be honest, I don't know what I would have done either. Because it's like I would have gotten scared for my own self too. Because I'd been like, well, I don't want you to like get in a fight with this guy that we have no idea who he is, what his triggers are, you know?
And in the moment, like it all, by the time I could even think about what to do, it was already done. So like, it wasn't like in the moment I had the thought process, like it played out like a movie scene. So there was really nothing.
Oh, interesting. So really you were just supposed to observe.
Yeah.
And sometimes being the observer is hard. You know what I mean? It's like, sometimes it is really hard to see some truths of like, people are in these types of relationships.
Yeah.
But that's why I also see the power that then is brought to you of like, you have the voice, right? So if she can't speak, if she's being choked out, like by like this energy that is her partner or whatever, you get the chance to speak with and for and be like an advocate for those women. So we get to like teach people how do you make your relationships or your environment more safe when it is unsafe, right? Because I think a lot of people don't realize they're in unsafe situations until it's too late.
Until it happens. Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of like what you said, it was like, boom, boom, it just happened. And you're like, whoa, like that shit happens on an instant. That's like fire, you know?
10 years ago when I was going to University of Maryland at College Park, we were out going to a bar. It was like me and 3 other people walking that way. And then I think I'm the only one who noticed it. But in the moment, I saw this one lady getting sandwiched by 2 other men, like holding her shoulders and walking her down the street. And I didn't realize till after, because her face looked visibly distressed. And then it wasn't until after I'm like, holy shit, is she getting kidnapped? Like, should we have done something? It looked like that. And now I kind of regret not saying anything, because in the moment when it happened, I didn't realize or register that could have been the case until like after the fact. So I was like, damn, like, what if she was getting like date raped or whatever?
Right.
Because she was like, she didn't yell or say anything, but I don't know.
She could have been in the same state. You know what I mean? Shock is so weird. Like, shock is like time literally, it's like you freeze, right? You like have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
When like something crazy happens, like when there's like a robbery or like, you know, something happens, everyone just goes, like, what's going on, right? Like there's a disruption, but it's also like, why am I here? Like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to do anything? And I think that's the first question you ask. Am I here as an observer? Am I supposed to do anything? Because listen, like you said before, like the savior complex, like as much as like being, and that's the hard thing about being a healer and being, you know, someone who is open to seeing all sorts of energies, all sorts of people. All of a sudden you're like, dang, I have to see some stuff and I have to understand that it's there. And then how do I bring awareness to it? Like, how can I help without making not only that person more unsafe, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a weird thing you kind of have to like figure out, where you're like, what am I supposed to do in this moment, you know? Which, like, I mean, the fact that you still remember it 10 years later, it was like a very visible like
very
thing,
visible.
You know?
And this recent one just ended me. So 2 people said maybe it's like if you're supposed to do something, you'd be in a position to do it. And that was It's Me. And Robin said maybe you experience the energy to learn, and when it's put in front of you again, you'll see it better. So I totally
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, so we are on round 2. That was an intense first.
I know, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, look at our moon signs being like, let's get it done. Let's talk about the real shit.
Do that.
Okay. Next question. I want to ask something that's like, what superpower, like if you could have any superpower, like right now at this very moment, and have it for like a whole day and understand it, know it, like finesse it, actually become a master of it by the time it's done, and that you can integrate it into your life, and now it's just like something you do, like it's just a part of you, like which one would you choose and why? Because now it's stuck with you for the rest of your life, but you're the master of it.
Great question. Super enhanced intelligence, omnicompetence. So it's like if I took an NZT pill, and then it's like I can harness all my subconscious memories, and I always make the right.
Yeah.
And it's just like I can read like a whole book in 30 minutes, get my homework done, and then totally have total organization. Like as I get older, it's like my superpowers are just practical stuff, like going to bed on time and actually eating.
It's like eating the right foods, actually getting vegetables.
Like I just want to be. I'm so used to being a rebel now. It's like my superpower is to be normal for once.
That's actually super real though. Like that's actually really good. I like that answer.
I want to be super real, just like super normal, extraordinary.
People are like, what? You don't want to fly? You're like, no.
But I do want to wake up in the morning like everyone else.
Hello. Oh my God. Okay. I'm down for that.
But yeah, enhanced. And the cool thing is I feel like I have the potential for that. But if I were to just
say, like, that sounds like where you're going anyway.
No, I'm grateful for that. I guess like if I could just like have the experience of getting to that peak place and know what it feels like. But I think maybe teleportation for sure. Oh no. Okay. Actually outside of that, the power to like control time as well.
Oh yeah.
If we want to get there.
Ooh.
Maybe if someone
time bender.
Yeah, just like slow down time if someone tries to punch me, be like,
oh my God.
Or if it's something boring, to speed it up 20 minutes or stop time. Yeah.
Oh my God. That would be me. I'd be like, I don't like this part. Let's just fast forward.
Yeah. Between that or teleportation. But yeah, other than that, my second question for you, I'm going to Spellzinc inspired when he commented he wanted to see if we can mention or talk about, and so this is totally a question for you. What are ways that society can implement men and women embracing more of the divine feminine?
Ooh, like together.
Yeah.
Well, it requires like putting down your guard, like putting down the weapons, putting down all the defense mechanisms, and like trusting that you're not going to get hurt. Because I feel like when you go into a vulnerable place where you're just like, okay, like I've been taught how to protect myself, have the masculine and push through, where I need to go. But like, in order to actually allow the feminine to hold you and nurture you, you have to like allow it.
True that.
And it feels like you're softening up. And I think that's what, like, when I have my Cancer moon and Aquarius, like just like conflict, that's what it feels like to me. I feel like I'm softening up and I'm like so vulnerable that it's,
oh God.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, I don't want to do this. Like, don't make me do this. I don't want to. Yeah. But I'm seeing the strength in it actually, because I think we are way more blind and way more deaf when we are just listening to our masculine. And we think we're like rational, logical. Well, this is how it goes. And then it's like, have you ever believed in miracles? Like, have you ever believed in like, the lightning bolt that comes down from the sky? Like, don't you believe that everything can change in an instant? And then like all your rational thinking and plans just go to shit. Like, there are no plans. So we're like letting go together, thank God. And I think it's gonna like soften us up in a really good way, like in a way where it doesn't feel like vulnerability is weakness, because that's, or like you're a coward, like this like coward feeling, like, well, I can't, like, I'm scared to be that vulnerable, right? Like, I'm scared, like, I don't want that running away. Like, I'll just run away from it. Like, if it's too much, I'll just like jet out real quick. And
that makes me like seesaw in relationships. Like, I'll realize at a certain level I have to be vulnerable, and then I'm like, you know what? Maybe I just need to stay single. Like, maybe I really don't want
to. Yes, everyone has that, because like I think it really is. We have really powerful hearts. I really believe that, that's where our souls are. That's where our intelligence is. Like, that's where, like, if you just live with your heart open and you can give and receive love, and you can transmute any sort of like, energy in front of you, and you don't even have to say anything because people can feel your heart. Like, that's where we're going to go. And as a society, like, sometimes, like, sometimes for me, I'm like, am I too optimistic? Because as big as my perspective is, I'm like, no, think about the world, like, as a society, like, everyone's got to come here. And I'm like, it might take some time, but I'm like really hoping like that we can just all bring more love into our lives and joy. and still do it without like competing with each other, without hating on each other, without hurting each other, because maybe you've got more than I've got right now, but then that's like, wait a minute, no, he doesn't. Like, that means I'm in a lack mindset. That means I'm actually stopping myself from believing that I have it all too. So it's this like, that's why I just feel like it's going to be a lot of spiritual work in a way that is going to question people's reality and what they believe, and how we work as man and woman, and as we actually see, like, you know, when we're born, like I have a friend she's doing just so much work on like the body, where she's like, listen, we all have the exact same parts, and then they start, like, the penis and the vagina like form from what we both have. So we're actually starting from the exact same place. It's just, it forms, it decides to create in a different way, or it starts to like form in a different way.
True that.
So if we actually come all the way back to that and be like, okay, we're all coming from the same place, it's the same. Now everyone put away the, like, you know, obviously it's a lot of ego and belief systems about like race, about sexism, about like even politics. Just like, if you were raised and you're a super rich kid and like, you know, you meet someone who's like, I did not grow up like that, like, you know, that's a completely different way about how you see life, how you see people, how you see yourself. And it's gonna take a lot of like back and forth. But I think, well, I feel like we have to come to a balance, or we gonna take each other out, and then like that's it. I'm like, humans, get it together. Like, we just had to figure it out together. As much as like it feels like a big project, but I think that's why there's so many like very, very ancient, old, wonderful souls here to help.
Definitely. Totally.
Okay.
Oh yeah, final round.
Okay, final round. What's your favorite book? Do you read books?
I have this amazingly bad habit of like starting a book and then skipping to the next book. So I have like a bunch of books that I have like started but haven't finished yet. I think I stopped finishing books like after school or whatnot. But I'm going back to reading. My favorite book, ironically, I recently bought the whole series, so like on Kindle, so I can read it again. And I'm gonna
which series?
I'm gonna go with the Artemis Fowl series. Like, one book that totally changed my mind on like embracing magic. And I never finished the series. I think I got up to like the third book, so I want to read it all again from scratch and just kind of complete that. You know,
now who's bringing in that Virgo energy?
Oh yeah,
you got the whole series and ready. Research.
Yeah. I'm gonna go in. I'm definitely gonna. It's just like time management. Like I get the sense that perhaps in my 30s I'll have like more focus and time, and now just to like sit down and read, not just like, you know.
How old are you again?
29 in June, so I'm 28 right now.
Okay. So you're in like your Saturn return right now, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, don't bring it up. But like, honestly, I feel like this is the best time to like feel into your 30s. So what you said, where you're like, okay, I want to be the, you know, like in that space where I have like, you know, the office set up, I have like the sanctuary set up, I have the books, I have the like, I have no lack in time, because time is not like, that's been my thing. I always remind myself, I do not lack time. I will get there when I get there. Cool. If I am late, I am late. If I am early, I'm early. Yeah. Like, that's just exactly what it is, because the moment we start putting pressure on time, it's so uncomfortable and you just suffocate yourself. And then you're like, I can't do anything. I get stuck. I mean, personally, I get stuck when I like start like getting too into time, and I'm like, oh God, like, do I have time? And then I think about all the time that I have to do things, and then I'm wasting all of the time.
Yeah.
And like, that's really what I've learned, like coming out and now into my 30s, where I'm like, there is all the time in the world. There's all the money. You also like get rid of the, like I'm learning, get rid of the mindset that like you lack anything. Money, time, you know, even I feel like I'm rebuilding myself like completely, like kind of starting over. And it's like the biggest blessing. So I'm like, fuck, I'd much rather start over and find myself again in my 30s and realize it's going to happen again in my 40s and my 50s and my 60s. Like if I just get used to constantly morphing into like the next level of myself, and I enjoy the growing process, it won't be as difficult when like I'll enjoy the process as I'm getting there.
Yeah.
And I think it's so difficult, but it can happen. And if you just like take away, or at least I did, I like just took away, I was like, whatever. If I'm late, y'all got to just deal with it. I'll give you I'll let you know. I'm not a dick. Like, I'll let you know, like, I'm definitely 30 minutes behind, but you know, I can't change it. Like, I live in LA.
The Kanye attitude is just like, you should be honored by my lateness that I would even show up to this fake
I mean, listen, if it works, it works.
Right. Oh, yes. And my last question for you is the infamous hot seat question. What are your three favorite zodiac sign energies, and what three give you the most challenge?
Ooh.
Top three, bottom three.
Okay. Top three, Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Because as much as I get, because, you know, I am set in my ways, but I'm so grateful for Sagittarius energy to like get me out of my own way. Like, I feel like Sagittariuses have always been like my guides and my mentors. Like my closest friends, my boyfriend's a Sagittarius. And like, as much as I'm like, like,
what's
why do you have to be right? His moon is Sagittarius.
Oh, snap.
So much Sagittarius. And with all our and both of our Saturn and Uranus was in Sagittarius. So we did our Saturn return together.
Nice.
Let me tell you, like, Sagittarius fire, like, I have a whole new understanding for it. Like, I understand why they are like the cult leaders. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
a Sagittarius could be like, ducks can fly and elephants can sing.
Yes.
And be like, oh my God, you're so right.
But then again, it happens.
And then it happens, yes. And then Virgo says the same thing, and people are like, shut up, Virgo.
Yeah, right? And my best friend is Virgo. So I feel like Virgo has been truly my teacher, because as much as I would be like, why are you slowing me down, Virgo? Like, not her, but like me, the Virgo within me.
Yeah.
I realized, like, thank God I'm slowing down, because, I could have missed those details. Like, the Virgos be the manifesting king and queens. Let me tell you, like, when they want something and they know, magical as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I watch them and I'm like, teach me. They're little farmers. They like farm they know what they're doing. They're like, I've been here many, many times. Like, let me manifest that real quick. And I'm like, oh shit, how did you do that? How did you just like get that new car? Like, you just said it the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
dang. Virgos manifest a lot of money too.
And like, Beyonce be a Virgo, so you know.
Oh yes.
So you know.
She got
Queen,
that juju.
Dude, seriously, Queen Bee. Like, that's when I see Queen. Yeah. Queen, Virgo Queen. So I would say Sagittarius, Virgo. What's my other favorite?
So it's nice to see Virgo in the favorites. I think this is like maybe the third or fourth episode out of 98 that Virgo.
I think they're misunderstood because they are so smart, and because they do call you out on your shit.
Yeah.
Like, it has been like, oh my God, why did you say that? And I was like, oh, you're right. Like,
most people are usually more stupid or dumb than Virgo. So that kind of gets them hated.
Yeah, because Virgo, I mean, I would get really irritated if I like knew that. Like, I get irritated as a Aquarius, right?
That's a high
yeah, so I can see the different.
So everyone's dumb to you.
That's right. my God, that's so real though.
Oh yeah, bless it.
But I'm trying to think. I mean, I do love Geminis. I feel like Gemini is definitely number 3 because I can always like, I'm such a chatty Cathy. Like I fucking love like the banter and the energy that just like, yeah, like you can just like have fun. Like the fun, the life. So Gemini for sure. So those are my top 3. Okay, so I'm still learning. I'm learning about why I don't always get along with this energy.
Leo? No, I was joking.
I mean, I thought Leo for a little bit. There are aspects. We get along, but all of a sudden I'll be like, it's not about you, sit down. And I'll get like a little like irked. But
I'm always trying to instigate Aquarius versus Leo.
You know, certain Scorpios and I just like don't. Like it's like we both know too much. We both know too much and we're both looking at each other with a side eye rather than seeing we're on the same team. Like, and it's frustrating to me because I think everyone's on the same team, right? Like whether you are a dark force or not, like we're all on the same team. Like it's all about balance. Like it is. I'm like, if a straight up dark force comes to me, I'm like, ooh, okay, what do you want? What are we doing?
That sounded to me like Scorpio, even though you're evil as hell, like we could still get along. Like
I mean, and they probably say the same thing about Aquarius. They're like, shut up, Aquarius. Like, get out of here. I know more, you know? Like, but I feel like Scorpio, I maybe I haven't met the right one yet. Like, I feel like I could get along with like a Scorpio woman who's like, let's take down, like, you know, let's go to war. And I'll be like, yes. But there's something that's like between us sometimes where I'm like, I don't know what it is exactly. It's like
Capricorn. It's Capricorn instigating between.
And I don't, and I was about to say, and Capricorn and I, like, oh.
No, it's literally an earth sign in between y'all, like, oh, don't listen. This is what they're saying about you. Yeah, I noticed Taurus does that with Aries and Gemini. It's like, I had to learn that the hard way.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, Tauruses and I, they just be so slow. Like I love them.
They're so like, slow. I mean,
it's like I love you, Taurus,
and I love Taurus too. Like Taurus people with air moons, like they don't count. Like they're the Taurus, they're the cool ones. But like sometimes you got to be slow. Like they kind of help us slow down. So that's why.
And that's
I don't sleep on
the other thing. And and that's why I'm always like, what I don't get along with is always my teacher because. You know, I can go too quick. I can go way too fast. And then I wonder why I'm by myself and no one else is like right next to me. And all the time they're like, you're way ahead. You're way too ahead to the point where no one can catch up. You got to slow down. You got to like have people, if you want people to like, you know, be with you, you got to slow down.
Yeah.
So I'm learning my energy with Taurus because I feel like I try so hard to connect with Taurus, but sometimes I feel like we're just not connecting.
True. Well, that's because
we're here.
That's because they're judging you while you're trying to connect.
Oh my God, you're right. And then my Cancer moon is like, bitch, I could feel you, okay? Like I could telepathically know what you're saying right now, so shut the fuck up.
Oh my God.
That's so real. Wait, now what about you? Now I need to know.
Damn.
Your top 3 and bottom 3, like at
this
moment.
It always changes. Yeah, I would say damn. I think it's really more about what I'm curious about. I feel like I need to do the whole research. So top 3 for now, for sure. Leo's there. Oh, it's hard for me to do a top 3 because there's so much. Okay, I'm gonna have to say Leo, Gemini, and Aquarius right now. Gemini because I'm super biased, but I really haven't met a Gemini.
Geminis are fun.
Yeah, and like being a Gemini,
they're just so fun.
Innately get each other. So I feel like I have to look out for each other. Like I'm literally gonna create an organization and foundation where if you're a Gemini, we'll give you grants. Like we'll look out for you. Like society of
oh my God, yes. Beings. My brother's a Gemini. We get along so well too. Like there is something about like other Geminis, like in air signs and like the Aquarius Gemini thing. It's just like, Geminis are super magical, like super magical. I watch magic happen around Geminis and then they say one thing and then like they can leave and you're like, they just like dropped a like fairy bomb on you and you had no idea. and like just walked away being like, okay, I'll just leave you with that. Bye.
Yeah. And
then
I think
like go on your way. And it's magical.
Which is why I appreciate Aquarius, because I think Aquarius is the only sign. Yeah, Pisces doesn't always understand it, but they see it too. Sagittarius sees it, but Aquarius is the only sign that knows what Gemini is doing. And that's why they're also on my top 3. Like it's such a, for it's like everyone can kind of like misunderstand Gemini, but Aquarius will know what's up. And it's like we can at least connect on that sense. And I love Leo more and more every day. Like I feel like Leo is definitely, I think I slept on Leo for a while because I sleep on Taurus. And then the 3 challenges are 3 signs. They're only challenging because I have like Venus and Taurus, I have like Moon and Cap, so I love them, but it's just challenging. Like
it's, of course, it's like,
and I don't hate them at all. Like I'm fascinated. I want to say Capricorn. I want to say I wanted to say Taurus, but I'm beginning to really love Taurus. Like my relationship with Taurus are definitely. I'm appreciating Taurus more, which helped me appreciate my rising.
Yeah.
I want to.
Oh, you're a Taurus rising.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Aries is like number 4 on the love list. Like I love Aries. They're totally dope. We could. I don't want to say we can clash, but as far as challenges, it's hard for me to say because I don't really hate any sign. I almost want to put Libra there, but Libra works. Libra is pretty. I feel like I have to be reintroduced to Libra, and I feel like once I step more into my heart and into my power, I'll get it along with Libra so much better. I want to say Virgo, but I really love Virgo too. I think with Virgo, Libra, and Capricorn, it's only challenging because it's like if I'm not at my A game, it doesn't work. Like I have to really like step into because with those signs, Cancer too, like they do this whole like indirect passive aggressive shade thing. Like I'm gonna tell you to your face,
totally.
I'm gonna kind of hit at how you ate shit and like how you kind of.
Yeah, I could see Cancer is doing that, like for sure. Like Cancer's, I mean,
it is. And even at one point Scorpio would be there, but I love Scorpio because even though Scorpio has the potential to, I know that unlike the other signs, they're direct, they're real. Like Scorpio could be shady.
Oh, for sure.
The right Scorpio, I end up getting along really well with because of my Moon and Cap. So I end up really connecting.
That's true.
And then. Yeah.
And then that's why I can't connect to the Scorpios that well because of the Capricorn. And I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah. No, trust me. Like,
because I do love Scorpio. I feel like Scorpio and Aquariuses are like the same person. Like actually, they're like the same double agent, but like they know each other's the double agent. So they're both going like, what are you doing here? There can only be one of us.
Yeah. Someone said, am I leaving Pisces out? No, I totally love Pisces. Pisces used to challenge me, but the reason why Pisces, the only thing that I didn't like about Pisces that they do all the time is that they'll know what I'm feeling and not trying to say. And as I'm thinking, it's like, what are you thinking about? And then I just get tongue twisted, like, and then I know they're reading my mind, and I just feel naked around them, like, stop being so psychic. And I just leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
And I just try and bullshit them.
That's so real.
Like, just be honest about how I feel. But they'll just catch me off guard. It's like right when I'm feeling or thinking a thought that, like, maybe I have feelings or romantic feelings, or I'm like thinking something deep and complex that I'm not trying to talk about. That's when they ask, what are you thinking about?
They call you out. It's true. And then you're like, what? Did I say that out loud? I'm like, can you hear me? Oh my God, that's creepy.
And Cancer do it too.
But then again, we need that Pisces because at the same time they bring that shit up. And they're like, you should talk about it. And it's like, oh, why did you have to like I don't want
they're
to.
relentless with it.
I just
with me, they're relentless. Like they know it is what Cancer does it too, but Cancer's like, okay, you're not comfortable doing it. So I know.
Cancer would be like, okay, here, hold on. Let me try to like nurture it out of you first. That's so real. I to be honest, like I forgot what book it is, but it's like the dark side of the zodiacs or whatever. And it was like my first introduction to this astrology and like the zodiac signs. And I fucking loved reading about the dark side to each zodiac sign because like obviously like we all have it, but I think that's why like the ones that I don't get along with, or when I say like I'm having issues or there's some sort of energy or something, it's like, well, it's also look at the dark side of my sign of like the Aquarius, the Cancer, and the Gemini, and then like trying to like talk to somebody else's dark side of like what I'm going to try to talk to a Capricorn, and that's going to go well, maybe, like hopefully, but I can totally see just our energies could be like what is going on with you? Like I feel that like reading thing,
and that's why
so instantly.
That's why I don't trust certain signs, because their dark sides are so genius. It's like, how do I know you're not just putting up this act because you can control your dark side? And it's like, how do I know you're not just being like super cynical? Like there's a part of me, I think it's my 8th house Cap. It's like, oh, just read the dark sides and that's them. Like the light side is just, unless they're like a masculine side, the light side is just the mask they put, but you really are your dark side because you keep it hidden. But other than that,
that's so real. That's so real. I feel like that's probably my Venus in Capricorn talking in the 8th house, being like, I see it. Yeah. Like, what do you want?
What do you want? It? Like, yeah, I totally, I totally get that. So, yeah, I hate to cut this call short. Like, I definitely want to. Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to invite you back on. But and totally down to collab. Sure. So how can people reach you? I have your website down below. What services do you offer?
Yeah, my website.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I'm figuring that out right now. What I'm doing right now is like readings for people, but it's more like a meditation. So it's like if you have I see it as you have to make a new habit, right? And you have some sort of like blockage or something about it. People just give me like a little blurb of like kind of where their headspace is and where they're at. And then I do like a 20-minute music meditation. So then you use it for like a month and you try to use it as like an exercise and a practice to get your basically like where you want to go. So I offer that. And then, I'm always available just to like, I just love chatting with people and just having these conversations. So I mostly go on Instagram. I'm like starting my YouTube sort of journey, but yeah, it's kind of like in the beginning stages right now. So right now it's like more like the music and meditation, which I'm going to get you your reading, which by the way, it was all about food. I pulled 3 cards for you and it was like food.
No way. Like, that's the best thing ever.
Okay. I mean, I'll get to that later. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I don't know
what it's going to be about, but it's going to be about food.
Do you have an Instagram? So I
was like, okay.
So Kristen asked if you have an Instagram. Yes, at Caitlainne?
At Caitlainne. Yes. It's Caitlainne.
That's your first name? Okay, I'm going to put it in the description. And I just realized now why I usually yawn a lot with like Aquarians. And I realized this, and sometimes Pisces, I realized most Aquarians that I talk to either have Capricorn energy or Aquarius moons. Like, I didn't realize any of y'all with Cap energy, you're on my Neptune. So it's actually anytime like my Neptune is activated, I just yawn because it's like that energy doesn't put me to sleep, but it puts me in like a trance state. That makes me feel like because I'm not tired, but I just like feel like on that. So I just realized that. And what final word of advice do you have for people walking this path?
Ooh. Just be yourself. Like, even if you don't know who you are yet, like, enjoy that and reintroduce yourself to yourself That was the best advice I was given when I was like, what is going on? And it was like, you're new. You're brand new. You get to start every day new. And if you can be as present as possible in each day, you are just going to find more of your authentic soul and spirit and the people that you want to like actually connect with. Like it just happens. People will just show up at your door, you know, like don't worry about trying to get stuff in line and prepare for anything. Just let it happen and be your authentic self.
Oh, that's beautiful. I feel guilty whenever I yawn because people think, "Oh, does he think I'm boring,
no,
or
it's good,
is he going to sleep?" And it's like, nah, totally not like that. But
no, it's like you're probably like moving energy in some way.
Yeah.
You're just like, hold on, let me. You're like, it's because like I have a friend who does readings and she burps during her readings because that's when she's like sometimes I'll burp during my readings or I'll yawn because she's actually like facilitating the energy. So maybe it's just your thing.
All right, cool. Yeah,
that's okay.
It totally does feel like energy shift. Like I'm bringing higher energy from y'all, and then they're just having to process it. But thank you so much. Totally gonna keep in touch. Totally looking forward for that reading. I know it's gonna be amazing. Please hit Caitlainne up, y'all. She'll hook you up. She's totally legit. Other than that, you guys stay blessed as always, and peace out.
Yes. Bye.